Hey there, if you have been wanting to learn how to ferment at home, well then this is one of the easiest and most rewarding recipes to start with. Hi, I'm Kristen from Healthy Roots, and today we are going to be making a carrot, dill, garlic ferment. It's crunchy, it's tangy, and best of all, it is probiotic rich to help your gut health. So fermentation goes back hundreds of years, as it was a key source of food preservation way back in the day. Obviously now we don't necessarily need it for preservation since we are blessed with our fridges and freezers and all that good stuff, but it is still wonderful to get all that beneficial nutrition and probiotics from it. So what happens is basically as it ferments, the natural beneficial bacteria within the vegetables starts to consume its sugars and it releases lactic acid. And that is actually what preserves the food and what creates those probiotics and that tangy, rich, kind of a little soury flavor. So let's get started. All right, so what do we all need to make this? Obviously we need the carrots, dill, and the garlic. We also need a really good quality salt, not just a generic table salt. So I really like the Redmond's Ancient Fine Sea Salt for all my ferments. I actually buy it in bulk, not this, I actually have a bucket over there because it's so good for ferments and just actually regular cooking and salting things and all that good stuff. Additionally, we're just going to be making a quart today. So I have my quart jar. I have a pint size jar with the cover. This is what we'll use to make our brine, just the water and salt mixed together to pour over the top later. And then you need kind of your fermentation accessories, so to speak. So when we put the carrots and all the stuff in, you are going to need some type of weight, like a glass weight, to put over it so that they don't all float to the surface. Otherwise the bacteria and mold and all that bad bacteria and mold form. So if you don't have this, you're going to probably need to get some of these. Additionally, I use what's called a pickle packer to kind of push them down. You can just push down with a big spoon or something, so there are ways around that one. And then finally, you will need a top for your ferment. So I use these pickle pipes. They have a nice little hole in them to naturally release the gas. If you don't have that, you can just use a normal jar lid, and just every day it's going to need to be burped to let the air release and all that good stuff. Another thing I'd recommend too, just instead of piecemealing this all together, I started doing that, and then I ended up buying the Mason Tops Complete Fermentation Kit that has the glass weights. It has the pickle pipe tops. It has the packer in it. So yeah, just a really good quality kit if this is something that you want to keep delving into in the future. Otherwise, at least get some type of weight to hold it down to start with, and you can kind of finagle the rest. I also use just this like little, funnel to help get my carrots in, but this isn't necessary by any means. So that's the basics of what we need to get going. Now, in order to start, we first need to really sanitize our jars and materials. So let's go over that. All right, so my favorite method to just sanitize the jar is I have the tea kettle on the stove, got it boiling, and now I'm just gonna pour the water over the brims of the glasses, like so. And then make sure then I also pour it over the other materials that are going to be used. I'm even going to catch the end of my pickle packer just to, with that wood, get it a little extra sterilized. Just, yeah. I know there's several other ways that people like to do this. I hear people, put them in the dishwasher. They might put them in the oven. This is my favorite method, but you do you if you have some other method that you're more comfortable with. All right, and then after a few minutes, then I like to actually take the glass, careful, it's going to be hot from the boiling water, dump it over, kind of lets the steam up in it a little bit too. All right, then let that sit and sterilize for a little bit or sanitize for a bit. And then I take them out, put them on just a towel on the side to just kind of air dry, then ready to go. All right, on to chopping. While I'm busy chopping, if you find this information helpful, please subscribe to my channel and I'll continue to make more recipes, more remedies. I already have various product reviews out there. I'd love to keep creating content for you, so please like and subscribe. Thanks. So what's our chopping strategy here? So I know some people, for their carrot ferments, they like to cut them into long slivers. I personally like to just cut my carrots into these little nubs. If it's a thicker piece, so here's this, it's about that thick. So kind of just whatever chunks or sizes float your boat. For the garlic, I usually, for each clove, I'll cut it into like, I don't know, 2 or 3 chunks as well. The dill, I'll just kind of put a couple knife slashes through it basically to help release some of that flavor. And then how much? You need enough carrots to fill the quart. You want to get it, by the time it's all said and done, we want about 1.5 inches of headspace left in the jar. So with all of our ingredients, we want to get it all the way up to that, even with packing it down pretty firmly. So, so you kind of just have to keep cutting and filling it with carrots until you reach the top. So it might be 6 carrots, it might be 4 carrots. This one I have here is giant, so that's going to take up a lot of space, so hard to give you an exact count. Garlic as well, I have about 7 cloves here. A lot of them are real skinny, so that's why I have this many, but others maybe it'd be more like 5 or 6 that I would put in. So I am going to turn off the camera as I chop, so no one needs to watch me, my slow knife work. All right, be right back. All chopped up, so time to start packing the jars. So we're just gonna kind of layer things in. So I grab a handful of carrots, a little bit of dill, and a few pieces of garlic. And then just keep kind of going back and forth like that for a while. You'll notice the carrots, I went with orange and purple carrots. You can do whatever combination or lack of combination floats your boat. So it can be just all purple, all green. But note, if you do use any purple carrots or other colored carrots, it will color the water as it ferments, just so you're not alarmed or anything. It just, the natural coloring will do that. All right, keep layering. As we get towards the top, we want to make sure the final top layer is carrots. Because the dill is smaller and the garlic is smaller, we don't want them kind of seeping up past the weight and getting and floating along the top, because that's where it's going to start to, you know, collect bad bacteria or start to mold or anything like that. So we want the biggest stuff always at the top of your ferment. All right. As we go, if you have your pickle packer or a wooden spoon, you really just want to keep pushing it down in there as firmly as you can. Create as much space, although still remember we need 1.5 inches of headspace at the top. I'm getting there. At the last of my dill, last of my garlic, and a few more carrots. All right. That should about do it. Jar is all packed up and ready to go. So now we need to make our brine, which is just the filtered water and the salt. So I'm gonna go get the water. As you're making your ferment, for every pint of water, it's 4 teaspoons of salt. So, as I said, I have my giant bucket here. 1, 2, 3. It seems like a lot, but that's just how it goes and how it's preserved, and it's not like it tastes overly salty or anything gross like that. It is teeny and delicious. All right, so screw on a cover, and then just gonna shake it up for a little bit. So it's all diluted, so just pour it over the top. There we go. It's on firm. Not diluted, dissolved. You knew what I meant. don't have it quite filled yet, so I want to now add my weight. Make sure it's over any little, so I actually see a little floaty dill. I'm going to just go ahead and grab that from the top. There we go. And back in it goes. All right. That was actually a perfect pour. So I still have, you don't want the water all the way to the brim either, because again, the air is going to kind of come, you're going to actually start to see bubbles form as it sits and ferments. So you do want to leave that little bit of space. So enough space that the water fully covers the vegetables and it should be kind of submerged around the weight, but not all the way up to the brim. So I have probably about almost a full inch left of space there. And then, oops, wrong color. You're going to, if you don't have a pickle pipe, then you're going to just go with your regular, I'm going to dry this off, your regular lid that you'll need to burp. But for me, I'm going to just screw this on. And we are good to go. All right, so the hard part's done. We have it in our jar. Now what? So now we kind of sit and wait and let it do its thing. So basically it's gonna sit on your counter, not in sunlight, so kind of in a darker spot for about 10 to 14 days, really kind of depending on the temperature of your home. For me, it might actually even be less, might be closer to 8 because it's 78 degrees in my house right now. So if you keep your house warmer, it's gonna ferment faster. If you have a cooler home, then it's gonna take a little bit more time. So best practice is to check it probably right around day 8, maybe a little bit sooner than that. So you really don't want to be opening this a ton during it, but an occasional check is okay because the longer it ferments, the tangier it gets. So maybe you want to test it after, 6 days or so to just kind of see how it's going. If when you open it, you do start to notice a little bit of mold or something forming. So a lot of mold, bad, gotta get rid of the batch. I've occasionally had like a pencil eraser size of something just starting to form or floating, and taking a clean utensil, quick scoop it out, never double dip any of your utensils, even when you're tasting, don't put it in and go back, always clean every dip. So yeah, other experts might say just get rid of it. So it's kind of up to your discretion a little bit, but that's been my method and I've not had any issues with it. Another thing that people see and have questions are what's that white stuff in my ferment, especially as it keeps going. It's called Kahm yeast, K-A-H-M. It's basically just a byproduct of the beneficial bacteria. So it's totally normal. So a little bit of that white cloudiness isn't just like rampant mold or fungus or whatever throughout. That's just the normal thing within the process. So after however many days, you test it, you taste it, you like where it's at, then seal it up and store it in the fridge. It should be good in your fridge for about 6 months to a year if you kind of keep it cold, are really good about not double dipping on your utensils. Again, it does kind of keep fermenting, so even in the fridge, it doesn't stop. It's just a much slower process. So it will continually get a little bit more and more tangy and a little more sour as the months progress, if you even make it that long. And a final tip to my fermentation newbies. So a lot of us, our digestive systems aren't always used to the level of probiotics or natural probiotics. So whether it's carrots or different sauerkrauts or fermented salsas or that, you can't necessarily always eat them the same way you would any just raw or cooked vegetables and just heaping serving on it. Think of this as kind of getting your daily probiotic intake. So a lot of times I would just take, 4 to 5 little carrot nubs a day, and that was great. And it is something you can work your way up to as well. So I would say start smaller, start with, a little 4, if you cut them up in nubs like me, start with 4 or 5. Then you can kind of work your way up to a few more tablespoons of them, but give your body time to adjust to the probiotic level. Otherwise, nothing tragic, just some bloating, a little bit of cramping, as your body's like learning good bacteria again. I hope you found this beginner intro to fermentation helpful. Nice, easy, basic, but delicious recipe, that you can share with your family and friends and all that as well. If you want to actually read the whole recipe, you can find it linked down below. It'll be available on my website, healthyroots.online. Otherwise, hope you enjoy. Thank you.